In the darkest nights, we find our light. Battered souls, but we won't lose sight. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, we stand tall. United forever. Strength and courage will overcome. Oh, surviving together, victorious, never, never alone. Hand in hand, we'll face the unknown.
We see you, we hear you, and we believe you. Hey everyone, how you doing tonight? You have landed at Surviving Together, a safe space for sexual assault and other trauma survivors to come together, connect on their healing journey, as well as trauma-related education for all. So thank you for those who are here tonight so far. Let me say my hellos for a little bit. We have Tommy Stiggs dropping in for the night. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. Davey, Dana, how's your day going? I'm glad you are here. Thank you. We've got Gen X Effect. Clint is in the house. I hope all is doing well for you. And Krumal, who is at home. I'm thrilled. I hope you are feeling good today. Actually, it's evening, late evening for you. So I'm thank you so much for being here. Crystal M dropped by to say support, and she'll be on the replay crew. She is catching Keela's live over at Mental Health Matters. That is totally fine. And Jimena is here. How are you doing today, Jimena? I already know, but for the sake of everybody else, I'll say, how you doing? And Deidre Gore, how are you doing? How is things? My voice is really low. Let me see. Is this better? I just moved. I had my microphone kind of far away. Let me know if this sounds better to you guys. Otherwise, I'll turn the volume up on my computer. Let's see. Let me know how the sound is, guys. I'm gonna go just on this, and we'll see how things are doing. Rudy is with us. Rudy, how you doing? How you doing? Do I prefer to count 0 to 99 or 0 to 100? Well, I can't do it right now because I'm doing my intro, but usually I'd go to 100. I like even numbers. Boop and Budgets will catch the replay. Welcome, welcome. No worries. We love our replay crew, and if you can remember to hit that like button and subscribe and leave a comment after the show. I know it's particularly easy for those of you who are on the replay crew. For anyone who's in the live, you got to wait a few minutes, hang out after the our outro is done. Sounds okay now. Okay, good. I just had it moved. I'd spilled some water over here. I was cleaning everything up. The Gamer Games. Hi to you. I just met you for the first time today. I'm so glad that you're stopping in tonight. Thank you for being here with us. Well, we have got a great show tonight, all about the healing power of music. So many of us turn to music for, a number of reasons. And the fact that we can actively use it to heal our trauma, I think is amazing. So we have a very special guest with us here tonight. Before I bring him up, I want to remind everybody about the Clothesline project that we have going on. Submissions are due April 1st, but Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern, we are doing a crafting day. So if you want to make your t-shirt along with us, that would be more than fine. If you are unfamiliar with the Clothesline project, I do have a community post all about it with lots of different examples of t-shirts that have been made. Basically, it's breaking the silence on sexual and domestic violence, speaking our truths. If you're a supporter, that's fine too. Whatever you want to put on a t-shirt. It can just be a big heart if that's what you want your message for everyone to be. And this does not need to cost a lot of money. Literally take an old t-shirt out of your closet. If it's something you think you even want to wear around the house, turn it inside out, right? And decorate one of the insides. Use some markers. That's what I did. I actually used highlighters and a Sharpie, and it worked just well. It worked great last time. I'm not sure if I have any paints around here, but whatever your truth is. So join us for that. That'll be on Saturday. And this will be creating change. Yes, creating change is coming on with us. My one other reminder for all of you who did not know, I'm going to put this up. This is my Cash App and PayPal. And for those of you who don't know, I think I just announced it on my last live, but I have now gotten confirmation. I will be a published author by the end of the year, by November 7th, actually. I have been asked to be part of an anthology with the Women Changing the World Awards. I was nominated as finalist for the journalism and media category. We'll find out April 3rd who the winners are. And I was chosen, they chose 25 authors from around the world, and they've asked me to be a part of it. So I have sent my deposit money in because all the proceeds from the book do go to help the parent organization, Dr. Teresa Try International, which provides primary and secondary education fees for rural girls in Zimbabwe. So all the authors chip in to help with publication fees. And they do a tremendous job for us with marketing and promoting the book and getting the word out there and getting it listed on Amazon and all of that kind of stuff for us. But it is pretty expensive. The total is $3,500. I have had some generous subs lately, and that just thank you so much. It defrays the out-of-pocket costs for me. I will be writing about my story, my journey from suffering childhood sexual assault through my healing journey and kind of how that all came about and ended up being with this YouTube channel and this, creating a space for this absolutely amazing community that is here because you guys make the community. So if you can help defray those costs at all, I'd greatly appreciate it. My Cash App and PayPal is in every video description, so you can find it there. If you need another way to pay, please just email me, survivingtogether@gmail.com, and I can work something out with you. So any amounts are helpful, $5, $10, $20. It does not need to be a huge amount. It is just helping me along the way and few less hours that I'll have to work at my regular job in order to defray these costs. But it's a wonderful opportunity to really promote this channel and promote what we're trying to do here. And thank you for anyone who does donate to that. So I'm going to take that ticker down for now because we don't need it. Let me say hi just a few more people, and then we're going to bring Guy up on here. Let's see, Maureen Frick is here. Thank you very much. Somebody who, they look like Japanese characters, Japanese or Korean, so I'm not sure which, but hello to you. I'm going to put you on the screen so you know that I'm saying hello, but I do not know how to pronounce any of that. My apologies. I saw some other people in here. Let's see. Euphoric Granny is here. Thank you for being here. Chloe Amusement and Entertainment. I'm glad that you have joined us as well. I'm seeing a lot of people here from Creating Change supporting him tonight. That is fabulous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know that Guy will thank you as well. Real Odds and Evens and Janet are both here in the house tonight. So thank you. I hope all of you are doing well tonight. I think that is it for right now. So without further ado, let me bring up Guy Bandy of Creating Change. Welcome. How
Oh,
are you doing tonight?
thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here with you, Miss Mac. Appreciate you. Thank
So
you.
how do you, I could do it, but I'm gonna ask you, how do you describe your channel?
Okay, I describe it as exactly the title. It is creating change. From start to finish. If you just started at the very beginning and went all the way through, not only would you be able to see my personal growth, but you would be able to see the change that's been made with the channel and myself. And I've also found some things within doing a little YouTube channel that I didn't know I'd find, like the therapy and just letting things go and letting the world have it, letting the world deal with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's I guess I would describe it as exactly what the title is, creating change. It does start with a
Okay.
thought. Creating change, the channel started with just a thought, like I'm going to start a little YouTube channel. What the heck? I just need to have something else in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just find something different. And that's where it started at. So that's
Good vibes and
it's happy to
positivity,
be
right?
good vibes. Always try to approach. I try to say this on my lives as often as possible. It doesn't always mean I'm gonna be super giddy and Mr. Good, like everything's perfect. It just means that even when I got something on my mind that's weighing me down, I'm always going to try to focus in on really. There's a lot of good things too, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more good things that deserve credence than those couple of little foul things that might be messing up my morning or my day or my thought process. So, I do
Practicing
try to.
gratitude, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is about good vibes, but good vibes means we can approach uncomfortable topics, and as long as you're coming at it with a pure heart and you're coming at it with a honest intention, then that's good vibes. That's
That's
good vibes,
awesome. Great.
So,
Well,
yeah,
Carmel has thrown your channel up there. And so you do a show from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through
yes,
Friday, correct?
yes,
And you also do that with Shine Dig, who is
yes,
kind of your partner in crime, right?
yes, yes,
With that.
yes,
And
yes,
Carmel, if you could throw his channel up as well. We are going to be having Shine on here at some point to be determined after hockey is over with, and we're going to be talking about men's trauma actually with Shine. So that will be a great show. So when
mm-hmm.
that gets actually scheduled, I'll put the thumbnail out for all of you, and you can come join us for a wonderful conversation
Yeah,
about men's trauma and his
yeah,
experience with counseling men and
yes,
going through their therapy journeys. So
yes.
that'll be great.
Sure to be a good conversation with Sean.
Absolutely.
Sure to be.
So I asked you I asked you, I said, okay, you know what? I want to talk about music and I want to talk about the healing power of music and where did that come from? And, how could we do it for, arrange it with you? And the first thing is, I just talked to you about a little bit ago, is music's always been a part of your life, right?
Sure, sure, yes, yes, 100%. Always been a part of my life in the fact that I was a fan of music
Mm-hmm.
from birth. I guess probably before birth, if we could all remember. I can, but yeah, since I can remember just a little, being a young fellow, fortunately my mom and dad and my older sister listened to music and stuff, so I was introduced to music quick, early. So yeah,
And just
definitely.
found that you really liked it and had a
Yeah.
love for it.
Yeah.
I found
Yeah.
out today doing research for this, just as an aside, that we are pre-programmed to understand music. Babies, their brains, even in utero, by the third
Yeah.
trimester, can understand beats and they
Mhm.
know beats. And that's why you can have these itty bitty infants just kind of rocking or bopping back and forth to a beat because it is
Yes.
neurologically
Yes.
programmed in our
Yes.
brains, which is it's just wild to me. But it also explains why music therapy ends up being so effective.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'll bring in a few, studies as we talk later on
Sure.
about kind of what I found with that. Um, Chris is in the house. Missed you coming in. Okay. Body Illusion is also here, as well as the guitar professionals. Hello, hello. If I miss anybody because I'm chatting with Guy, I apologies to
Shout
you
out
all,
to
but
everybody. Thank you for
welcome,
being
welcome,
here.
welcome for being here. So it was really interesting when we started talking about trauma with you, and your form of trauma is actually something we have not delved into here on the channel, and that's medical trauma.
Mm,
And it's something that I was speaking with somebody else on, and we're going to do an entire separate live all about medical trauma and what it is, and
sure.
how it comes about and the different types of medical trauma. So if you're interested in that subject, just hold on to your horses, and we're going to get there in the coming weeks. So know that that's coming as well. But
Excuse me.
what started your journey with the medical trauma? It sounds
Sure.
like it was what, at 9 years old?
I was right around 9 years old, and had an incident that I injured myself on a tire swing, and I hurt my butt, hurt my backside, and went for a couple days and didn't tell my mom and dad, and I thought maybe things would pass and what have you, and it didn't. And I guess trauma based, due to that trauma, then the area that was around it became inflamed, and now that's been an ongoing struggle my whole life with ulcerative colitis in that area. Thankfully, it's been kind of confined to that. But that's where my journey with the medical, the whole the whole aspect of it, everything was focused in on the physical side, but there wasn't never any. Nobody was ever really asking you how you really how you really doing on this.
Right, right. Because
Um,
you're around my age ish, right?
mm,
You're in late 40s
I'm
ish.
48. I'm 48.
48. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
just 4 years younger than me. And we know that things were condition focused, right? I mean, there wasn't patient focused. They weren't concerned about, are you
Yeah,
comfortable? Do you feel safe? Do you,
yeah,
it was all about just treating whatever condition that you had. And so
yeah.
you went through some pretty traumatic
Oh, oh,
experiences then.
man.
And
Yeah,
can you give us a few examples of
yeah.
what really, stuck? I can, in talking to you, I can tell that it was traumatic because you remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I guess for I try to explain to people, you know, the ease of going to some of these exams that we're asked to go to now. I don't want to hear nobody complain about going and getting your every 5 year checkup or your every year checkup or whatever it is. You get put to sleep, you wake up, you don't realize anything that happened, you don't know nothing that went on. It's just like a little bit uncomfortable because you just know what's going on. You know what's going to happen, but you don't really know anything that went on. Well,
And we're
back in the
talking about
day,
colonoscopies
we're talking
for
about
anybody who doesn't
colonoscopies, yeah, and
know.
and I'm talking all forms of sigmoid colon exams, colonoscopies, all the way to the ascending colon, from one end
Mm.
to the other, all the way to where it goes right into the small intestine. And I can remember, as just a young fella, um, you know, uh, only comfort I had was my mom's hand, and you know, I guess just being young and tough and trying to be strong and trying to like play like all right, man, I can do this. I actually was able to. This is no kidding. While awake, with no sedation, with only my mother holding my hand, they put that other end. They have this section where they can put a dual scope where two people can
Right,
see. So
right.
I was able to watch them actually do this as a young person to me while they were doing
Wow.
it to me through the scope. And
Oh my
I mean, I
God.
say I say it in laughter, but I'll be honest with you, it was one of the most uncomfortable times in my life. And I've seen what the inside of the penitentiary looks like. I've been through shakedowns, I've been stripped down, I've been through all that. But as a young man, uh, being sick all your life anyway, and then you're reaching
Mm-hmm.
that point in your life that things are changing, things are happening, And then it just seemed like nobody really cared about, the fact that, guys, y'all are putting me through some barbaric treatments here, and
That'd be rough for
you
an
know,
adult to deal with. And yet
it's
you're 9,
it,
10, 11
yeah,
years old, and your
yeah,
mother is there for
and
comfort
my
on the one
mom,
hand, but are you
m-
going, there's also
yeah,
like this
man.
embarrassment factor with it's my mom sitting here.
I tell you, one of the worst memories I have, Miss Mac, is my mom and dad. They took me down there to the children's hospital there in D.C. and they were doing my tests and everything on me. And my mom and dad were working people. My dad
Hmm.
worked his whole life, still works, and he's just a hard working man. And
Right.
mom was always just rock. And you go down there and you see these kids that that they probably you know they they may not be on
They
their
may not
their
be
way
coming out.
home.
Yeah.
They may be on their way home in a different way.
Yeah.
And I can think of that moment where it's like, man, like this has gotten intense now.
Hmm.
And like, you realize that you're in a hospital where people go to die, or they go to, there's some things wrong. And you're watching your mom and your dad, they're going through this at the same time. But it's like you're realizing that, man, like the stress that's on them, the stress
Hmm.
that's on yourself, because you're getting ready, like you're just, it's such a line to try to walk
You don't want
with
to
your.
stress them out more because
Yeah,
you know that it's hard for them.
yeah, it's like if you act like it hurts too bad, or if you act like you're miserable over it, then they're already miserable. It's just gonna make
Yeah.
them more. And that was, that was the times, man. That those are pivotal in my life. I can't remember a more uncomfortable, a more a more just moment in my life that sticks, that doesn't never, the emotion doesn't never go away. The feeling of that moment doesn't go away. The feeling of the helpless feeling, like you're doing what your parents are telling you to do. You're taking this medicine that you feel like is killing you.
Mm.
And your mom and dad are doing the best that they know how to do, but they're not doctors. And
Right.
these doctors keep feeding you these azolfidine tablets and Indocin and corti, and it got you taking these cortisone things and shooting injections into your hip, and it's almost like you're some kind of little test dummy. And you get stuck in, like I still, man, I hate doctors. I
Mm.
hate, and I'm a guy that should be going. I should be going all the time. I'm a
You were
high risk.
internalizing a lot of
And
emotions, right? And because you didn't want to express this to your parents, you didn't want them to know
well,
how hard it was going through
you
it.
have to realize, and my mom and dad never hid anything from me and my sister. And I watched my
Hmm.
older sister have seizures and be sick her whole life. I knew that my parents had lost their first baby from seizures after 22 days of not being able to
Oh,
figure out how to
oh,
make her stop. And I knew that. And I also knew that they were so happy with me that I was healthy. And then all of a sudden, I'm not. And
right,
that was like, for me, the only way to really be tough, because your body's breaking down
right,
and you don't know how to stop it. And the only thing you got left is what little bit of dignity that you feel like you can show your parents by, like, hey, I'm still smiling, and I'm
right,
still here, and I'm still happy. I still love, you know, uh, but it doesn't mean that it didn't affect me. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that
right. You didn't have anywhere for all that emotion to go, and what you don't realize is how it leaks out in different ways, and
indeed.
later on in life, and affects us our entire lives. We just don't realize where the source of it is coming from.
Mm.
And I know we spoke briefly about later on in life because of the pain pills that you were given. Um, started having the hip. You started having hip problems, correct? And was that
Yeah.
related to the ulcerative
Yeah,
colitis?
basically, I have a disease called ankylosing spondylitis, and I also have ulcerative colitis.
Okay.
They are a married, um, they are a married diagnosis.
Yeah.
They follow each other. It's an inflammatory disease that
Mm-hmm.
basically ruined my left hip.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I was just a young fellow, about 20 years old, it had had all it could take. I was able to keep going a little while, but it eventually losed, which that's what losing means in Latin, is to freeze. It eventually froze up and just it would not move no more, and
Mm.
so I had to have that replaced, and then that started the whole. That's where my whole journey on pain pills started. I knew about pain pills. Obviously, I wasn't a blind young man, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mess with I didn't mess with
Right.
nothing. I ate handfuls of Advil. Now I ain't gonna lie.
Oh,
When
yeah. I mean, you do
uh,
anything to numb the
yeah,
pain. Sometimes that's
yeah,
coming from somebody with a bad back. I completely understand that.
yeah.
And
I didn't know. I didn't ever mess with nothing like that though, ever until the doc. And I'm not blaming it on. I'm not trying to blame it on doctors. I'm just saying I never really done anything like that ever
well, that
until.
was, that was our era. For
Yeah,
one, doctors were like you went to the doctor because they were the expert. So you did what
yeah,
they said. I mean,
yeah.
there wasn't second guessing. There wasn't being your own patient advocate. There was none of that. And also, as you're talking about this, what I'm realizing is how much, and we've talked about this on the channel, how much our emotions and our emotional trauma can cause inflammatory diseases
Mm-hmm.
such as
Mm.
rheumatoid arthritis and
Oh,
fibromyalgia. And I am just wondering how much of internalizing all of that medical trauma might have, I won't say caused the
right.
secondary condition, but at least exacerbated that.
I can tell you this, that there is a direct, immediate correlation between brain and bowel.
Hmm.
We all know that scared crapless feeling.
Hmm.
We all talk about that, how it's like, oh, I got the there you it literally is that you can have a stressful thought that, as a man that's had stomach issues and has ulcerative colitis, I can tell you that it's immediate. I can immediately go from everything's good and I'm doing fine and I don't have no issues, to something trigger me, and then my stomach will immediately. I told this story on live before, and it's no lie. For the first 2 weeks coming in here trying to fool with this stupid computer, well, excuse me, with trying to fool with this doggone computer. I don't like computer. I didn't know nothing about them. Didn't know nothing about it. None of it. My stomach would physically begin to hurt. Like as soon as I would know, like, oh, I gotta go in here and do this. Like I can't put nothing off no longer. It's almost time. I gotta go get this ready. Gotta, because it's one of those things. It's like it's a direct, and like the stress of it there. But so anyway, back to the
Yeah.
point. There truly is a direct correlation between what your thoughts are, the stress that you have going on in your brain, and how your stomach and your not just your stomach but your body in general reacts to it, for
Well,
sure.
yeah, absolutely. We just talked about this a few weeks ago on the gut brain connection because there's actually, they identified it as a second brain within
Okay.
your stomach. And that um, operates everything. It's responsible for everything from the esophagus, from one end to the
Right.
other.
Right.
So, and we talked about that, you go through something stressful and all of a sudden your stomach clenches. And it's because
Mm-hmm.
your brain's
Mm-hmm.
telling you to. It's clenching because it's trying
Yeah.
to stop that digestion. It's trying to, that's your fight and flight that's
Saving
kicking
that
in.
energy. Saving that
Yeah, and so
energy.
it's going to, your cortisol levels, so your stress, whoo, goes up and digestion stops and your immune system is shut down.
Yes.
And it just, yeah, and that's why, stress is so key to, being calm and relaxed, and it affects our bodies in total.
everywhere,
Yeah,
everywhere. It
absolutely.
and your body has a funny way of finding your weakness, good or bad. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Like it's amazing how your body can heal itself when it
Mm-hmm.
needs to, but it's also amazing how it can just totally just devour itself if you allow it.
Yeah.
Because it's like my it's almost like my brain and my body almost like I know that's it's like it's directly related. Like I know that if I get stressed, I'm gonna get a stomach ache. I know that if I'm
Yep.
gonna get a stomach ache, I'm gonna be going to the bathroom 20 times a day for the next 2 weeks and struggling trying to get myself back right. So I really do like try my best to keep myself from like especially really hard uh like I try to not get stressed out. I try to
Right.
not like let things like I don't like emotion to me is not stress. Emotion to me is being comfortable in your own skin and not worried about what somebody else thinks. And you just allow that to come out. But to stress and there's a difference when you really start pondering on something and it'll weigh you
Ex-
down. And when
See,
that happens,
exactly
you
what
know,
you're saying. It's a matter of processing emotions, feeling your emotions, processing them, and then letting them go
yeah,
versus keeping them in, keeping that emotion, and then you're constantly, going over whatever that emotion is, sadness, could
yeah.
even be happiness. I mean, depending on what your situation is, and just, ruminating about it, thinking and not letting that
Then all of a
go.
sudden your back will start hurting, or your
Mm,
hip will start hurting, or your stomach will start hurting, or
yeah,
you'll get a headache,
yeah.
or whatever. I mean, it's just odd, but those things are very related. They're very related.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very interested in the science behind it, and so that's why we kind of did a deep dive into the gut brain
yeah.
connection with that. But so you had this dual diagnosis then that was leading to
Actually, I
pain,
didn't know. I didn't know about ankylosing spondylitis until I was about 20 years old.
but
I
it
didn't
led you
know.
into the pain pills,
Yeah,
and so
I
that
didn't know about
put you
that.
down
I
a
knew
different
that there
road.
was something wrong, but we didn't have a name for it yet.
Right,
I just
right.
knew that, like, man, my legs are killing me like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, upon diagnosis of that and getting my hip replaced, then here come it was easy peasy back then to get pain pills, as you
Oh,
know, your same
oh
era.
yeah, absolutely.
You could go in there with a mashed finger and come out with pain pills. Like,
My
that's
doctor would just prescribe the 3 months, and they'd
yeah,
give me the 3 months. So I'd have
yeah, oh yeah,
360
yeah,
in a jar,
yeah,
and
yeah.
nobody thought twice about it.
Yeah, go in limping, come out skipping.
Yeah,
I hate that. It's not even funny, but that's the way it was. It was that easy, and people,
absolutely. Yeah, and it only got worse.
yeah, it
It
did.
only got worse
It,
with the opioid
y-
epidemic
yes,
that
it
went
did.
through. So it was easy then to get them on the streets, thereafter. But
Mm-hmm.
during this whole time too, because you said in your late teens, you
Mm-hmm.
you really started writing songs. I mean, not the song
Yeah.
aspect of it, but the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics of it. So you were
Mm-hmm.
turning to music and
Yeah.
turning to a creative outlet
Yeah.
in starting to write.
Yeah.
And what you wrote one-liners, but do you remember the
Yeah.
first time you actually then sat down and wrote an actual poem out and what that felt like?
Yes. Um. Yeah. I was gonna recite it for you here, and I hope I'm able to here in just a second. I'll be able
Yeah.
to. Let me think about. But yeah, I remember the first song that I truly like wrote all the way through. Like I remember the moment anyway. I'll remember the song once I get it started in my head. The whole thing will come out. You know how it is. Like once you
Right.
get it going.
Yep.
But but yeah, I can remember I wrote a little song, and it was kind of during the Garth Brooks era,
Mm,
and it was kind of kind of along that. That's why I'm wanting to remember. It'll come to me probably in the middle of the night or something crazy. Now it'll be like, I just thought of that song, but
Anytime when we're still here,
yeah,
that's fine. You can just
it's
blurt it out.
yeah, it's like so. Yeah, but I started writing then, but I didn't know how to play an instrument to it,
Hmm.
and that always just flustered the crap out of me. Like I just all I want to be able to do is just play a couple chords and be able to sing a song. That was all I wanted to do, and
Hmm.
so then that's kind of where the little journey with music began for me. It's not where I really locked on, but it's
Hmm.
kind of where I started playing around. Like, okay, I'll learn me a couple chords, and then I put it down for a couple of years, and then I'd pick it back up, and then I'd put it down for a few years, and of course went to prison for a few years, and they didn't let you play no instruments or nothing like that in
Mm.
there. So,
Yeah.
wasn't nothing like that. And then when I got home, um, it just seemed like I was drawn back to it, and just started picking it up again. And I found this little band. Um, they had a little ad in the paper for tryouts for this little rock and roll band. So I was like, ah, man, why not?
Yeah.
Like why not? So
We'll
I
give
was
this a
like,
try.
yeah, yeah. So I went. I tell you what, I called the guy and I answered, and Brother Keith's gone. He's dead and gone now, but he was a good man. And he said when I called, I was like, yeah, I'm calling about this ad. And, I talk just like I talk. I'm like, yeah, I'm calling
Hmm.
about this ad and paper and everything about this wanting a singer. And he was like, well, my name is Keith and he talked slower than me. Like, I mean, it was like real, and I thought I like him already. And we wound up talking with him for several minutes there that night, and he invited me down, and then anyway I went down, sang a couple songs with him. Long story short, I wound up playing with him for several years. But hey, that was such a fun. I'm so glad that I started the journey with music, because it was just like, okay, you get to meet some new people. We never made no money. We didn't never make nothing. That wasn't what it was
No,
about.
but
It
you know
wasn't.
what?
It,
One of the things that I was learning as I was doing this research was the power of group music, of
oh
making music as a group. The collective nature of it is something that is empowering, inspiring. There's
yes.
a
You get those
connectivity.
cold chills. Oh, those cold chills. I used to love it when, like, you would practice a song. Because a lot of these were songs, you got to remember, these guys were older than me. It's by a
Mm.
few years. So we were talking like Carlos Santana and
Ah,
Rolling
nice,
Stones
nice.
and,
Yeah,
Eric Clapton and these kind of songs. Things I was familiar with, but I didn't know. Like I
right.
grew up in the Garth era, and
Hmm.
and now I knew some Skinner, and I knew some Bad Company. I knew that, but there was a lot of stuff I just didn't know, so I had to try to learn. Like I had to go through on a journey. Like I
Right.
had to come home and like start looking some of this old stuff up, and like trying to like get my mind wrapped around like the sound and the way that they come in on things. Because I was one that I was kind of a weirdo about things, but I would not allow no easel on my stage. If you couldn't learn the song, maybe you don't need to be up here playing it. And that's just the way
Okay.
I felt about it. Work hard, and we spent a lot of time practicing it. If you're playing behind me and you want to have an easel as a pianist or something like that, that's one thing. But as far as being up here in the front, if you're going to be part of the front three that's up here, then you need to just know your
Just be
songs,
able to
man.
play.
That's the way
No,
I feel about it, because it just don't look professional. You're asking for people to treat you like you're professional, but you don't look it. So it's kind of hard to do that. You know what I mean? It's how I looked
yeah.
at it. I mean,
I want to say thank you for everyone who's come into the chat since we
yeah.
started chatting. Thousand Stars came in and says hi, and but it's been a long day, so she's headed out. So thank you very much, and to Deborah and Amelia and Polly and Mike and Mike F. Thank you all of you guys for being here. Stash Cash is here too, and actually had a question about what instrument do you play?
I play a 6 string guitar, and I'm capable of playing a 12 string instrument, guitar, just because the chords are, it's the same. And I can bang around on a bass like like if somebody said, "Hey, can you can you fill in and like lay a little bit of a bass track down while I could do that, but like I'm not a bass player. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
guitar player.
Okay.
And just in the past couple of years, I've really took a deep dive in like learning how to learning what music, a little bit of music, and kind of understanding some of the technical stuff. So, but in doing that, it's opened up a lot of doorways for me. And in the physical plane is just understanding some of the interval training and things like
Music
I'm a
theory and all
geek.
of that.
I'm a geek. I geeked out on the interval training. I ain't gonna lie.
Uh-huh.
I had so much fun in there sitting on my couch. I'd sit there with that. We got a big screen. It was the first thing my wife and I bought together when we got her taxes the first year we was together, and it's
Mm-hmm.
still going. We won't trade it in. We want to upgrade it, but we won't trade it in until it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna keep it. But I would sit out there and listen to that and like try to like I wouldn't cheat neither. I would like try to keep my head down and I'd try to like match tone for tone on my
Mm-hmm.
guitar but within doing that, I figured out that every tone, if you place your hand properly, is already under your fingers. You shouldn't need to move at all to hit the tone that you're hearing. You might be in a different octave,
Mm-hmm.
but the tone is the same. So there was a lot. It was cool. It was like, okay, I get it now. But there was, I don't know. I geeked out on that. I geeked
That's
out on that.
wonderful.
Yeah.
What do you I had two questions for you, and
Sure. Yeah.
they're the same question but at different time periods. And
Hmm.
it's, what did you get out of doing it? And by that I mean the point where you started writing poems. Were you just writing from what you saw, or was that stuff that was internal to you? Were you writing about your own emotions or your own experiences, or
I have.
how,
I don't think I've ever wrote anything that didn't have something of true in it.
mm,
Of course, as
mhm.
writers, we all have our points where maybe we might exaggerate a little bit for story
Right, right.
purposes. But I could pretty much say that everything, even funny songs, even funny things that I've wrote, they had some truth in them. They might be a little bit of an exaggeration
Mhm.
in there, but they had a lot. Those probably, and the funny thing is, it's probably the ones that are the most true are probably the ones that's the funniest and sound the most exaggerated. Like, but that's probably the ones that's the most true, because I've had some pretty good experiences along the way.
Right.
But yeah, I've always I think it's all like my songs. I don't I don't hardly ever just sit down with a pen and paper and start writing something. Usually thing, especially with songs, it starts with just a one line in my head, and then it I'll wind up writing a song out of it. Like that'll be how it starts, and it usually is not work for me. I only got a couple songs in my life that I actually like over the course of years like come up with lines for and would be like, oh, that
Mhm.
fits good there. Most of
Right.
them, it's just like, okay, I sit down with my guitar and write it, and then when I get done, that's it. And I don't have to write them down neither. That's another blessing, is I can
Oh,
remember pretty
wow.
much every if
That's a gift.
when I start playing and I start singing,
Mhm.
then usually thing I don't have no trouble with recall. Now I may forget how to start a song off for a little minute, but then you give me a few minutes, and once it comes to me, then it'll be like, okay, I got the whole thing
Sure.
in my head now. So I yeah, it was just one of those things. I think writing for me, it has to be more of a personal kind of thing with
Mhm.
some exaggeration kind of sprinkled in. I don't think I
Mhm.
can do just straight up. Well, I could probably do fiction. Don't get me wrong. I could tell a good story,
Well, they always
but
tell writers, write what you know, right? Because it's the easiest.
I don't want to lie on air. I could tell you a good one now if I needed to, but most of my writing, those song wise, it seems like they're more like personal in a little
Mhm.
bit of a way.
So I want to ask kind of the same question, but bringing it forward to now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you get out of your music?
Ah.
What does it give you? What draws you to it now?
I told you that I spent a couple
Yeah.
days allowing this to be part of my cognizant thoughts throughout the day. I don't want you to feel like I stressed myself over because I enjoyed it. Um, there's been so many pleasures that's came from just one for me sticking with something is knowing that I've stuck it out to now people look at what I can do and they say, wow. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
only reason I'm able to do that is because I stuck it. I'm in there and I'm still trying. I'm still learning. And it's been like one of those times in my life where I realized, man, if I'd have just done this with some other things, I could have probably done a lot of great, a lot of other great things. And then, realizing that, even today in today's technology, having an opportunity to take something that I would sit in here literally by myself and play by myself, whether I had a camera going, whether I didn't have a camera going. So once I realized that maybe I could have a little bit of an audience, and maybe when I go to, my payment, God blesses me to this be any type of a uh, a platform that anybody considers success. My success will never be measured in a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
My success will be measured in that when I have something that I want to talk about, there's people that want to hear what I have to say.
Right.
Then that will be my payment. And as I
Beautiful.
learned how that music applies to these small channels and how I could maybe branch what I like doing with music, but I also love pushing people up. I love at my channel to have somebody send me stuff because it makes me proud. Like if you're proud enough of what I'm doing to send me stuff, then I'm gonna give you that same in return. I'm gonna if it matches and it's not something stupid or whatever, and then I'm gonna play it for you because you sent it to me.
And
And
one of the
I
healing powers of music is that empowerment, that confidence
it
that you get from
it
mastery
is
and control over something, and being able to control, something, whereas there may be lots of pieces in your life you can't control, and are
Miss Mac.
just.
I'm telling you, if it hadn't been for having my guitar to focus on when I truly kicked everything, when I finally done my last Suboxone, when I
Hmm.
finally done, when I finally drank my last drink, when I find all those moments that I went through a final, like this is it. I'm gonna take my step on my terms this time. They ain't putting me in prison. They ain't doing that to me. I'm gonna make my decision my way. So I made my decision. I educated myself. I learned what I'd done to myself. I learned the misery I was going to have to go through. I'd already physically went through it in
Mm.
prison, but now I took the time and I understood that, okay, I know what the pain feels like. I've been through that. But now I need to understand this exactly. Okay, I'm depleted. I'm going to have to make sure that I'm going to have to like get up in the morning, drink me a cup of water while I'm brushing my teeth and make sure I start my day out hydrated. And I'm going to have to I swear to you, I craved eggs. I bet my wife would tell you, I ate a half a dozen eggs every morning for weeks. It's like my body was just starved for protein. Like I had just depleted myself to a point. Not because I was staying so high. It was just like the medicines they put me on, like Suboxone, just made my. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do like I did. It wasn't no. It didn't do nothing but make me work, make my health worse for anybody. But
Hmm.
it was just like if I hadn't had that to lean on and find that release during those moments, then it would have been hard out here on the street. It was easy in prison, guys. It was easy. You didn't have no choice. You're going
Hmm.
to you're going to live through it. It's going to suck, but it's easy because see, you're somewhere where you can't get to it. It's
Hmm.
out here on the street when you make that decision that it gets that's when you feel that crawling up your back and you know you ain't gonna be able to sleep tonight. It's knowing that it will pass, but it won't be right now.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
and it's
gonna
not going
be
to
a few
be,
days.
but
It's not gonna be fun. So having that guitar and having my wife that was very very, understanding of like I've took this serious. Like this is I'm done. I'm done.
oh,
I'm I'm
bless.
I'm I'm doing this, and she and just knowing that it didn't bother her to hear my guitar and hear playing or hear me up pacing around and just trying to learn something else and trying to do something else because it was my way of being able to leave without having to go anywhere and
Hmm.
shake it for an hour or two because there's a pain release that comes with it too. There's that endorphin
Absolutely.
release that's like, man, you sit and you work on something for days and days and days, and then finally you get it, and that's proper endorphin release. See, us pain pill addicts, yeah,
Scientifically, Guy, that's been proven. It releases
yeah,
oxytocin. Listening to music, playing music, it
yeah,
actually releases that oxytocin in our bodies, and
indeed.
that's why we feel good when we're listening to music.
When you listen to it, and like I know for myself, just like trying to learn something new on it, and you would try for days and days and days, and then
Making, composing,
finally
right.
you get it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just hit it, I just hit that, it just sounded right, and then you're like, and that release that you would get, that for me, figuring out that I had abused the proper release of that for a long time by thinking that was found in a pill or a
Right.
substance, and understanding that normal people don't feel that way all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Life doesn't feel good all the time. There's those, it feels good, but you're not high. You're not high. And those of us that abuse drug, you get used, your brain gets used to, oh well, high's the good feeling, or high's the proper feeling. Well, no, it's not. Normal,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's not what normal feels. Normal doesn't feel that way.
Right.
You got to find natural releases for it. So for me, that was a big thing, was finding that way of like feeling good about, like, okay, I forgot about how crappy I feel right now. And then like I told you, starting that little business with my best friend out there, and feeling so I was so adamant that I would not give not one other soul the out of ever saying, well, guy was drunk or guy was high. No.
Right. You were driven.
If I don't win, if something don't work out, whatever it is, it's just going to be because it didn't work. But it ain't going to be, oh, well, he was drunk, or, oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
he might have been high, or he wasn't himself. No, no, no. I was 1000% myself. And that was like in my heart, like, God, guy, I owe it to myself. Like, I don't want to question, okay, well, was it because I wasn't on point? Is that why that it didn't work, or is it, or I didn't want that in my own life. Like, I don't want to
Right.
question it.
Personal accountability.
Like, man, yeah, without somebody making you be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Prison, they sentence you to that. You don't
Mm-hmm.
get. It's not like it's like that. People will say, "Well, how did you get through it?" Just like you would. They put
Right.
me in there, and I didn't have no choice. That's how
One
you
day at a
get through.
time,
Like,
because you can't
yeah,
go anywhere else.
you wait until they say, okay, bro, you're all right, you're out. I mean, it's like there was no secret to it. It wasn't hard. The hard part was just not being where you're comfortable, and just being uncomfortable. That was that was basically that was the hard part, was being, for me, being away from my family, and that sucked. uh but music, once again, you stick them headphones in there. I remember listening to headphones for hours in there, just jamming the music. Couldn't play no music, but we'd be up there. I tell you, I got some songs that I wrote while I was in there. I got one that I just was sitting there thinking today, that I had never shared with everybody, and it's called "Whiskey and Memories." I wrote that song while I was locked up, and I haven't shared it with nobody in a long, long time. I don't even know who I've shared it with, to be right real honest with you, other than the guys I was locked up with. But I also I wrote a handful, but I got another one called "Stuck in This Place" that I wrote while I was locked up. All of us grown men was sitting up there, on
Do you want to
it
play
was,
one of them?
well, yeah, I mean, I can play many of them, but yeah,
If you want to
sure.
share one of them, yeah, go ahead. So
Well,
even in prison, music was an
I'll tell you
outlet
what,
for you.
I'll do the one exactly the way that I end. This is no lie. I had one line: "We're from high up in the mountains, where the sky meets the pine. Ain't nothing in them woods, Lord, except rednecks and moonshine." That's what I had to this entire song. And we were sitting up at the tables in the front of the pod. We didn't have no instruments, but we were tapping on the table like this, and it makes this boom, boom sound, right?
Right,
I'm like,
right.
I
Those
said, "We're
aluminum
from high up
steel.
in the mountain, where the sky meets the pine. Ain't nothing in them woods, Lord, Sip rednecks and moonshine. We like to go to church, Lord. Makes us feel just fine, but a different kind of pain. Well, it's alright sometimes. Now the book's got us all wrong, and the rumors are just fake. We may be wild as hell, yeah, but we're good for goodness sake. Remember us in your prayers. Send us all a saving grace. We're just old rednecks at heart while we're stuck in this place. There you go.
That's
That's yeah.
So music
Yeah, man.
really has been a part of your life the entire
Yeah.
time. You were
Yeah.
using it even when you were in prison.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah. Us
fabulous.
grown men had such a good time in there singing them old songs. I remember some of them old fellas in there. Well, I say old fellas, they're my age, but hey, we'd all was in there all emotional because you was all coming off of dope.
Right,
Everybody was
right.
starting to find their cry feeling, right? So you'd get up there on the phone, you'd come off snotting and carrying on because you just been talking to your wife or your girlfriend or your mom or your dad. You come on, and then you'd be sitting in there singing some old sad songs and stuff. It was just like, I mean, it was just from the outside looking in, I could see where people be like, man, these grown men are just, like they ain't right, man. But hey, it was fun though. I ain't gonna lie. I've told my wife, I've told many people, I had some really good times, even though we was locked up. But people were clean. That was the beautiful part.
Well,
Once
see,
you was in
again,
there
you've got
for,
that group music, you've got that
yeah,
connection aspect that people, desire. We all crave connection with somebody else, somebody who
yeah,
gets us, somebody who understands us. And even
yeah,
if it's they're only understanding us on the musical
yeah,
level,
yeah,
you've got that. And music itself, scientifically, they've shown that it calms our nervous system, which brings our stress down,
does
which
it does?
allows us to start processing emotions that we may not have realized were there. The
Yeah,
traumatic memories, that emotional memory, you're
mm-hmm,
able to access a lot easier through music
mm-hmm.
because of the neurological pathways that it goes through. So, it makes perfect sense to me that
It does.
you've turned to it, your entire life. Do you think, was there a point where you felt like you had worked through or worked out, got out of you all of that stuff from that medical trauma?
I No, I don't think that that'll ever. I don't think that, to be 1,000% honest,
Hmm.
that'll never happen. Um, I do what I gotta do, and if I gotta go get something done, I go get it done. But I don't think that I'll ever really be 100% in line with some of it. I don't think that I think there was a lot of things that a lot of educated people just didn't care about at the time, or maybe they had to act like they didn't. I don't know.
Right.
But no, I don't think that, I don't know anything else about any other kind of trauma. I've never been
Hmm.
abused. I've never been in that situation. I thank God every day for that. But I
It
don't
affects us
think
all very
it
similarly. It doesn't matter that it's, a different
I
kind of trauma.
maybe you can tell me, but I don't know. I think you learn to deal with it well, and you learn to cope with it well, and you learn to share the feelings you have with people well. But to say
Hmm.
that I just go to sleep at night, don't never think about it no more, or that it doesn't make me uptight just to go into a doctor's office, or even
Hmm.
if it's not my appointment. I'd be lying if I said that. That'd be a lie.
I think
That
we're
ain't
all
never,
on our healing journeys. And I don't think those journeys ever end. And I think
yeah,
that, a trigger might not affect us as much as it would have
yeah,
at another point in our life.
yeah,
But
yeah.
those memories, they're there for
They're
life,
there.
that
Yeah, they are.
you're going to remember them.
Yeah,
But you're turning to much positive coping skills now. You're talking, if something's bothering you, if it sounds like you've got a really good support system
I
around
do.
you.
This is the problem is I'm the kind of guy that I love people. I love them dearly, and I do. But I also love being left alone. And there's a thin line for people like me between having a little bit of alone time and having nothing but alone time. And I found myself slipping into that in the past couple of years before I started this little YouTube thing. I just found myself in this little comfort zone that it was cool, safe space, everything's fine, but not trying at all to put myself in any uncomfortable situations. It was like in some ways, I didn't trust myself. In some ways, it was like I'm just happy just being sober, being clean. I'm here. I'm not spending money like I once was, and I'm doing good, and I'm feeling better, and all this kind of stuff. But then I started realizing, like, Guy, I require some people. I need people in my life. I had
Right.
my wife, I had my son, I had my mom, and my dad right here on the hill. But I mean, you need other stimulation in your life. You need other folks. I have my little friends out at the store. And I call the gals out there at the store my little friends because I've been going out there forever and I just know them. So Miss Chelsea out there, or, whoever it might be working
Mm-hmm.
out there, they're my little friends, but that's not really my friends. They're just my friends at the store. I say howdy to you and then I'm gone. It's not like I had a real
Right.
interaction. So I
Your
just
work, it's like your
realized,
work friends, or it's
yeah, it's like you didn't really have and then I had Zach, and me and Zach have always been our safe space. Like that dude's always been my safe zone, man. I've always just kind of know that, man. No matter what, even if we could fist fight right now, and no matter what, he would be hugging me and telling me everything's gonna be all right if you
that's
see me
awesome to have someone
breaking.
like that in
And
your life.
yeah, it is. And I just have always been thankful to have that other person where I just know that even though we haven't seen exactly the same struggle, he's been there long enough in my life. He's seen my struggles, and though they may not be the same as what the struggle's a struggle, like you just said earlier.
Yeah.
Trauma's trauma, and it doesn't matter how it came to you. It's in your brain. It's affecting your thought processes and the way that you
Mm-hmm.
cope with other stresses that happen in your life. Because I'm probably the most cold-hearted, most miserable, cold-hearted person when it comes to sickness, because
Mm,
I'm that guy that I know what sick really does feel like. And
right.
I don't like to see my family, my kid, my wife, my mom, my dad. I hate to see somebody. There's one thing that I don't like to do, and I don't like to claim something. For example, I don't like to say, well, this stomach virus I have, this stomach virus of mine. No, this stomach virus ain't mine. I'm getting rid of it, yo. This ain't my stomach virus. You can go back to wherever it came from. I'm not claiming
Right.
nothing. And it's kind of like that's how I carry it these days is like, I don't like to claim, the negative field or anything like that because I just feel like you invite it into yourself. Like, so
Absolutely.
it
Yeah.
is about good vibes. The way that like I swear, Miss Mac, I can get
Yep.
up in the morning and if I ain't careful, I'll wind up thinking about something from 25 years ago and let it eat on my brain. I might
Mm-hmm.
be all right and do everything I need, but it'll be in there eating on me all day. And it's like
Yep.
at some point you'll get like, why if I give this all day rent free in my head?
Mm-hmm.
And ain't charged a dime for this. And it's been in there dancing around rent free all day in my head when I could have been focused in on the great things that's right here. And
Right. And you felt like
I've,
crap the entire day
yeah,
as you've been thinking about it
yeah,
too. It's just
yeah,
it messes you all up.
give you rent free, didn't give me no money for the rent. And now,
Right.
it's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's hard to sometimes steer away from, but you can if you focus and know that you're doing it to yourself. Uh, for me, I try to recognize when I see it coming. Like, guy, you're stop, man. Just stop. Like, I physically will talk to myself, like, quit it, dude. Like, come on, man. Let's do something. Redirect is what I call it. Like, I'll
Right.
redirect myself. Pick up
Perfect.
my guitar, go outside, go do something other than whatever it is I'm doing at that moment that's got me thinking on something stupid, because it's like there's nothing you can do about that. There's no way to back up and pun, and it's usually something dumb that you just know. Like, in the end, like, I couldn't do nothing about that if I wanted to.
Yeah,
Like,
change your
yeah,
environment, do something
yeah,
different.
yeah,
And one of the things that they have found is that music truly allows us to be present in the moment. I mean, it requires our attention. If you're actively listening to music, if you're composing, if you're writing, if you're, playing an instrument, you
hmm,
have to be here now.
yeah,
And so it allows our brains to shift from whatever it was thinking about to being in our lives and not being stuck back somewhere else or
yeah,
thinking about all of those negative feelings that may be stuck within us.
yeah.
And that is one of the gifts of music, one of the true
It
healing
is.
powers, because we talk about, mindfulness has become such a buzzword, the last few years, but it is one of those things that is 100% true and
Yeah,
is I think a necessariness for us to
yeah,
be effectively living our lives, to be present in our lives now and appreciating what we have as we're going through it, instead of, you've gone by, a week's gone by, and you can't really say that you've enjoyed your life
yeah,
during that
yeah.
time because you were just going through the motions or just thinking about something else. And so music has a way of redirecting us here to the
It
present.
does. It does, and it's funny how that, if you allow music, and I never really understood exactly what it meant, but I think when people talk about they can see the music, I think what they're talking about is they can see the story in their head of the music. Because there's times where, what I'm talking about, there'll be a song that comes on that you may not have been thinking about a particular moment, but as soon as that song comes on, it takes you
Mm-hmm.
to that exact spot at an exact
100%.
moment. And it's like, that to me is seeing the music. Like, there's times where that, and it happens most for, I think, people that write their own music, you'll get into, like, you'll be in your own head. That story is what you're playing out as you're playing that song. You can see the music. So therefore the song is unforgettable. You can't never let those words out of your brain. They're always there. As soon as you see that story again, that music is automatically, the song is automatically there, because
Mm-hmm.
it's that story you're looking at when you see it in your mind's eye, or you hear that. Like how you'll hear one certain bass run and you're like, oh, that's that song, or one certain guitar lick, or that's that song. And immediately you can go right to a specific. I was at the skating rink in '87 and we were flying around through there and we all thought we were awesome and we had long hair and looked crazy. You know what I mean?
Oh
You can
yeah.
just right back to it. So,
I hear the song Jump and I am in a roller rink.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yes. Or, old time rock and roll.
Oh, I was just listening to that today.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Oh, we would go. Oh man, I loved it though. Shout out to the roller rinks, man. I loved the roller rinks
I
back in the
wanted
day.
to highlight this wonderful comment from Amelia Loves Ariel, and she says, in my personal experience, trauma is like an orchestra. Everyone is different, like an instrument, but together as friends, we support each other and we can make beautiful music.
I love that.
And I think that that's a wonderful
Yeah,
comment, and it
that
is so
is.
true. 'Cause as we said, trauma is trauma. It all
Mm,
affects us very similarly. There are some differences. We were just talking Saturday about the differences of men and women and how we experience trauma, but it is so important, I think, to come together and to
it
support
is.
one another, and whether it's you're coming from a trauma standpoint or just in life,
Yeah.
people are not designed to be in isolation. And it
Mm,
is so easy to isolate ourselves when we're not feeling good, when we're stuck in those negative places. And I think that the wonderful thing about this channel and about your channel with the music, drawing people together and them truly supporting each other just because of their love of music.
That's it. That's right. But and I like to think that all of you folks that are in the chat room and welcoming people are just as big a part of the show as any of us that's on the screen, because people knowing that, man, I can say hi to everybody. Nobody's gonna be like being dumb and just like everybody's in what's going on and commenting and back and forth. I think it just keeps drawing great people in, because it just seems like there's I don't remember, like, if there's negative people come in, I don't know where they are. I
The
honest to God
times
don't.
I've been in, I have not seen this. B says Guy is natural Prozac.
I I don't know. It's like I personally have just been waiting on, like, the real the trolls or whatever they are. But
Right.
I think that good vibes just creates an umbrella around us, and that's not just for my channel. It's just for yours. It's for all of us. Like, once they see that you're unbreakable, like, you're not gonna come in here and do that. You're not gonna bring that energy in here. We don't welcome that. Then I think people just move on. I don't know. I don't know what happens, but
Yeah,
it works.
I don't want to jinx it and talk
I
about our lack
know.
of trolls
I
here,
know.
but
I know. I know. I'm like looking for wood to knock on, Miss Mac. I'm like,
exactly. Like I got
I,
plastic.
I'm
All I
not
got is
wanting to cross my fingers and
got
everything,
particle
but
board here. Where's my
yeah,
wood?
I don't believe in cross fingers, but I
Jeez.
do believe in two or three.
Yeah, I'll cross some toes just to be
Yeah,
safe on that too,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Oh, I got a couple of them crossed too. Yeah, I'm ready, man. That's
Mouse's music
great.
was my first love, and it will be my last. It is one of those true things, with any of the creative arts, whether it's, painting or drawing or music, it's something that you can always keep with you, and that
Yeah.
it is or it most often very, very personal, to you. And the the way that we're able to express ourselves and put our own piece in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a very creative person. The running joke in my family is I can't draw a straight line with a ruler.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's my mom is a wonderful artist and a very creative writer. My brother is an incredibly talented artist, and my dad draws graphs, and that's where I
Yeah.
got. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
analyze things. It's not a thing for me, but I can definitely come at it from an appreciation. I've
Yeah.
always loved music. I've always
Yeah.
sung,
Yeah.
but to play it, I bow down to you people. I cannot. My fingers. I tried piano for like a year, and even my parents were like,
Yeah.
"Dude,
Yeah. Like,
you're
yeah.
okay as long as like you're doing this or whatever." But
Yeah.
as soon as they
Yeah.
wanted one hand doing one thing and the other
Yeah.
hand doing the other, my brain's like, "No, which one do you want
Yeah.
to focus on? You can't do both at the same time."
Yeah, and really, there is people that I think that it's a lot harder for some than others. I
Mm,
think some people, like I told you right before we came on, like, I really did have buddies around the same experience level that it seemed like they no sooner picked up the instrument that in a couple weeks it was like, dude, how in the world did you how where'd you learn to do all that? And for
right.
me, I struggled. I struggled with some of it. And then there was things in my life that it seemed like all I had to do was try. All I had to do was just try it, and I was good at it. But not music was not one for me.
But you
But
stuck
there
with it and you persevered, and the
that's
sense of
been
accomplishment you had to have
That's
felt after.
been my best lesson
Ooh,
from it, Miss Mac, is like, okay, if you'll stick with something, even though it's, not very fun, right? Like, because working on scales and working on
mm,
that's not fun music. Music is
mhm.
fun playing and singing and stuff, but if you'll stick with it just for it, it taught me a valuable lesson. It, like, okay, I see there's something on the other side of doing this. It just, you got to get through this little section right here before you get to that
Right.
you get to that part. But you know
Absolutely.
I think it's encouraging. I try to tell my son, I hope that one day he picks it up, and it doesn't have to be right now, but I think it's just a great thing for people that might be going through any type of trauma. I've thought about this over the past few days. It not only soothes your soul, it's supper for my soul. Indeed, it's supper for the soul. It makes me feel good. Um, Not only from a sense of accomplishment standpoint, but I love that sound. I love the
Mm-hmm.
sound of an in tune instrument, and I love the way that it feels in my brain, and I love the way it sounds in my ears, and I love that tingle that comes right behind my ears when that perfect tune comes in, and I love that. And to me, that it's so worth that time that you spend with it, because it's not a payment like money payment. It's a payment, just, man, anytime you need it. Like, it ain't never going nowhere. It's right there. It'll never go nowhere. It's
And
yours.
that's the thing. It only has to please you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
whether you're
Yeah.
singing, whether you're playing, whether you're creating, any other form of art, dancing, drawing, painting. You just have to like it. You don't have to share it with anybody. It
Nope.
doesn't have to be what somebody else would think
Nope.
is good.
Nope.
It's if you're happy doing it,
Yep.
that's all that matters.
Yep. That
I
reward
doodle
system.
sometimes, and then that's
Yep.
that's fun. I
Yep.
look at what I've created afterwards, and it's like, oh, that's okay.
That's
Well,
yeah. I
but
feel
that
you.
was fun
I
while I was
feel you.
doing it, right?
Yeah, I feel you. That's about what most of my sit down and write song experiences turn out like. If I'm gonna write a song, it's just gonna come. It's
Hmm.
gonna be there. But my sit down to write a song winds up being some random something that don't have nothing I wrote down on that paper over the past 2 hours has anything to do with a song. It'd be some old dumb stuff. You're like, because it just don't work that way for me. My brain does not
Right.
work that way. It's like a thought will come into my head, and then that thought will lead to a story behind that thought, and then that's it. That's all there is to it, and that's it. There's
But
no
it made
like,
you,
oh, yeah, it made you, it's that reward system. Like, hey, I
yeah,
did that.
exactly.
I wrote that little song, and it may suck. That's fine. It's for you anyway. It doesn't matter if the world likes it or not. You know,
100%.
you know.
Janet says my piano journey. She's just learning piano at in her early 60s. She says,
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
find studying the theory explains how music works and sets me free to explore.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mister. Oh, that's so. I tell you what, and from a guitar standpoint, knowing just enough about music to make myself dangerous. Just understanding, what a chord actually was. To me, I thought a chord was every finger that I needed on every string. A chord is just comprised of three notes, the one, the three, and the five. And understanding that, and understanding the correlation between the major scale, and how once you understand the major scale, then every other little scale they want to throw in there, whatever fancy name that they want to
Hmm.
put in it, all it is a fancy name for the major scale applied in a different way, pretty much. So it's like, those little technical skills that I didn't allow myself to spend any time with, I hated it. But
Hmm.
I found love in it myself. Like, I totally geeked out on the interval. I know that my wife had to I know she had to be about ready to just hate me over hearing it on the TV at night. And I'd be sitting there. That's how I'd go to sleep. Honest to God, Miss Mac, she's sitting in there. She'd tell you the same thing. I would have it playing on the TV, and I'd just be listening to it over and over in my head. And I got my guitar, I set it right beside me on the couch out there. We got one of them sectionals with like the
Right.
long part you can lay on, then the other
Yep.
part you can sit on. Well,
Uh-huh.
that's where Martini lays at. And whenever I need to play her, I can always just reach over and pick it up because I always keep one close by. And
Oh,
I would reach over and I would have that thing and I would play it and I would listen to that interval and I'd go down through there and try my best to match my ear I geeked
right.
out on. I ain't gonna lie, I geeked out on
Getting all
it.
those
Yeah,
mechanics down of how you got to do stuff.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I would love it if you would play us a song, anything you want.
yeah,
If you can just pick up your guitar
yeah,
and play
yeah,
whatever. If you guys
yeah.
have any questions for Guy,
I
please shoot
haven't
them in
tuned
the.
up. So while you're just for all I need is like 2 minutes. I'm
No,
gonna
no
sit right
problem.
here. I'll let
Hmm.
you do your thing with everybody and say hi, and I'm just gonna tune up so it's not like bang bang in everybody's ear. I'm gonna mute myself
Okay.
because I realized, like, listening back to some of my stuff, like, dude, tune your guitar or mute yourself while you're tuning your guitar because it just sounds terrible in the ear. So I'll mute
Got it.
myself out while you're saying hi to everybody just so I can tune up, and then I'll be right with you, Miss Mac.
All
I'm an
right, no
old pro at
problem.
this. I know how to mute myself out.
You got that button now. Awesome. Well, my guy tunes his guitar. Let me just go through the chat a little bit. I want to say hi to some people who I've missed, which were a lot of people who've dropped in over the course of time as we've been talking. And if you have any questions for Guy, if there's anything you're wondering about, you know, music, about his personal story, feel free to just put a cue up and drop your question in, and we'll get to it right after Guy is done singing us a song. But let's welcome Crystal Phoenix. I'm so glad you're here tonight, and Tracy's Local Learnings. Thank you for dropping in. B, I know I highlighted a comment for you, but I haven't said hi. So thank you for being here tonight. Lashana Success, same. She says, same way, Guy. I love people that need my own time. I think we all do. And I think it's healthy to have our own downtime to process the world and what we've, gone on. It's just when we get stuck in that and it becomes too comfortable for us to be alone, and that isolation. And I think that's when we start reaching out, we understand how much we've really been starved for connection, and how wonderful that can be. Um, Melissa Bandy, Missy, I'm glad you're here. I'm not sure if that's actually sis or mom is behind that one tonight, but welcome to one or all of you that are here. Brian Drums is here.
That'd be
Thank
my
you so
mom, my
much.
sister, and my dad, Miss Mac. It
They're
is,
all
no
sitting there
kidding.
looking. That's
No kidding.
awesome.
Yeah, no kidding.
We got What the Quack.
Yeah.
We got
Hey,
your
what the
favorite.
quack's in the house?
What the Quack's
What the
here.
quack is going on?
Yeah, he just loves that name.
Yes.
ALV dropped by. Thank you so much. Deborah had to go. That's absolutely fine. I know some people are going to catch bits and pieces on replay. Polly Donuts is here, and Shangy Girl. Bobo dropped by. Thank you all. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But thank you so much for coming by, showing your support for not only this channel, but for Guy as well. So I encourage you, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Make sure you check all for your notifications. You'll be notified when we have special guests on like this, or the days that we're going to be talking about some other trauma topics. And first Saturday of every month is Laugh Saturday, if you guys who don't know, because we truly believe in the power of laughter. It's one of the best healing medicines there is out there. And so we'll always, that'll be April 5th. So that's coming up here in just a couple of weeks. And I think that brings us to the end here. Check out Guy's channel. Carmel, if you could drop his link one more time here as we kind of start wrapping up the show, I'd really appreciate it. As I said, Monday through Friday, 10 to 1. Occasionally they go on after dark as well. Do you have a set time that you do after dark?
Miss Mac, I have not just come up with a scheduled time, but what I did promise was that after I got through with February, then I was going to kind of scale back. So we're probably going to go to like maybe a 2-time a week deal, where whether it's myself and Shine, or myself or
Right.
Shine on whatever, but we're probably going to narrow it back just because, conducive to life, you can't be on every day, twice a day.
Right, exactly.
I did that
Understandable.
as a personal experience, just to get some of this stuff under my belt and just be like, I know how to do it now. Like, I got it now, or I think I got it now. But yeah, like the 10 to 1, we're probably going to narrow it down to a couple hour field during the day instead
Sounds
of a
great.
3-hour field. That
Right.
feels more fair. But we're still working on that. I don't like to put myself above my skis, because I'd like to go over with Shine and talk to him how he feels about that kind of thing. Because I do share that platform. As far as the Guy and Shine show, that is, it's not Guy and Shine without Shine. So
100%. So yeah, you guys catch him after dark. If you go over and sub to his channel and hit all, you'll definitely get the notifications when he goes live for his after dark shows. That's usually more of a music concentrated show, jamming, doing whatever, playing songs that either Guy's written or other people have written and sent in their videos on. So definitely enjoy a lot of wonderful music and a lot of different artists there in the evening time. So without further ado, I'm going to mute myself.
Can you give me a quick sound check, Miss Mac?
Sounds great.
Is that all right?
Yep, that's perfect. I'm going to mute myself and let you do it.
You can hear my voice talking to you over it, all right?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, cool. That just, all right.
Yep. Check, check, 1, 2, 3, check, check.
That was a small stall tactic. I didn't know if you could see that or not. All right, this is a little song I wrote called Spiritual Walk in the Sand, kind of my little ode to the poem Footprints in the Sand, which is one of my favorite poems. So this is just a little song that I wrote, kind of just my way of saying I like that poem, and it just always stuck with me. So it goes like this. Yes, I took a spiritual walk in the sand, and I've seen the footprints, felt the Father's hand. He's been there for me through it all, and He's held me in His hand just in case I'd fall. Well, I've walked with a limp most of my life, and I've questioned God and asked Him why. But I took a spiritual walk in the sand. I know one day in heaven, never gonna live again. Yes, I took a spiritual walk in the sand, and I've seen the footprints, felt the Father's hand. He's been there for me through it all, and He's held me in His hand just in case I'd fall. Yes, I took a spiritual walk in the sand, and I've seen the footprints, felt the Father's hand. He's been there for me through it all, and He's held me in His hand just in case I'd fall. Yes, He's held me in His hand. I was right there all along. Hey, thank you very much for having me out, Miss Mac. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody coming by and sharing this time with us. I know that you and I, sounds like you and I could probably go on for hours talking about these certain things. I think you are muted. Yeah, you're muted, Miss Mac. You're good.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've learned your stuff, Guy. You have definitely learned your stuff.
Hey, that's
yeah,
all.
we could
Hey,
talk. You are welcome back on the channel anytime. And
Thank
actually,
you.
if you want to catch more of Guy, you can catch him with the Guy and Shine show Monday through Fridays.
Yes.
Also, the 28th, I believe at 5 p.m. Central. Is that correct? He is going to be on Jimena, the Magic of Healing. So you can catch him over there, and they're going to be talking some more about his music. And I'm not sure exactly kind of what avenue they're taking, but I know that that'll be a great time over there.
It'll be awesome.
Head on over there. One of my wrenches, if you could drop Jimena's channel again too, I would appreciate it.
Shout out to you, Miss Mac. You did a good job keeping me reeled in. Hey, it's tough. I know it. I know it is, because hey, I was like, yeah, she don't even know. She got a challenge on her hands just trying to keep me like, because all it takes is one thing, and I'm off on another, and like, hey, Guy, we're over here, bro. Bring her on back in over here, man. But yeah, it's been fun, Miss Mac.
No,
it's a
wonderful time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here, and you're welcome back anytime you want. Anything you ever have to talk about, You
Thank
just
you.
come on and
Well, vice versa. Just know that I've already made it clear that anytime you have anything that you'd like to share with the community or something that you feel is worthy of us hearing about over at my channel, then all you have to do is say the word, and we'll do our best to make, obviously make room for you to come up and say what you need to say. And thank you sincerely for what you're doing. I like your channel. I like what you're doing, and I like the approach that you're going with because, for folks like me, Miss Mac, I don't have an education. I don't have anything, but I've lived a lot of life, and I've done a lot of foolish things that, through the grace of God, I'm past and I've lived through. And the only way that I can feel like I'm doing a service is to share with others my experiences and what I've been through, and hope that maybe somehow, some way that I say something or you say something, or in the course of us talking, we say something that maybe clicks something or helps somebody or something, whatever it is. So I just wanted to say shout out to your channel, shout out to you. I appreciate all your support,
that.
and I'm glad to be a member of your channel and just a part of your journey for sure.
Just thank you, and I love dropping by yours, and I'm trying to get up the gumption to record a couple of songs myself. Like I said, I'm only a singer,
Right.
and I'm not really sure
Yeah.
that this mic is working for me, but it's been quite a while since I've sang in public, so I'm working up some courage. So we'll see. I don't know when that'll happen, but we'll see. I'll shoot you something if I eventually do.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds real good. I like that. Well, just by the way, your mic sounds good. Your voice sounds very clear, just so you know, on my end.
Yeah, I stole my son wasn't using it anymore, so I stole his Yeti mic. So
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm like I
you
paid for it.
okay, like you sound good. I was because I know you was trying to figure out whether your mic was high or low, or was a little bit lower early, and I was like, man, it sounds pretty. Like, I hear you pretty good over here on this side. You're
I
doing
just
pretty
had
good.
it pushed a little too far over. I forgot to
Well,
kind of bring it back over.
You're a real pro at this too, by the way. You just sneaking around, not telling the man that you're an all-time pro over here.
I got the basics down. That's
I
that's
see
about it. I got
basics.
enough to
Yeah,
push live, and
yeah. I can
except
take you to
for
Mars, but other than that, I'm out. After that, you're going to have to find your own ride. Yeah, yeah. I just know the basics. Yeah, I got you.
exactly.
Yeah, I feel you.
So stick around, guys, as we head on out. I've got a wonderful outro for you that our own Jimena put together for us using some AI programming, and talk about chills. It's a little long of an outro, but it's a full song, and I absolutely love it. It's beautiful, and it speaks to what we do here. So thank you, Guy. I appreciate it.
welcome.
Have a good rest of your
Yes.
night.
Yes,
Everybody,
ma'am.
remember, you are worthy, you are valuable, and you are loved just the way you are, for who you are. So hugs and love from me. Mwah. We'll see you all next time, and that'll be Saturday at 3 p.m. Remember, surviving together, never alone.
That's right.
Through the fire, through the rain, we have walked through endless pain, but we stand, we rise again, stronger now, we break the chain, surviving together, hearts open wide, lifting each other through every tide. The past may have shaped us, but it won't define. Together we heal, together we shine. surviving together, hearts open wide, lifting each other through every tide. The past may have shaped us, but it won't define. Together we heal, together we shine. We see you, we hear you, and we believe in you. Surviving together.